Rotterdam, a mighty beating heart sustained by the waters of the Rhine. These waters have come a long and adventurous way before losing their identity in the sea. 7,700 feet up in the Swiss Alps, where innumerable streamlets flow together to form a tiny lake, Lake Thoma, the Rhine is cradled. Leaping with untamable life, the newborn river thrusts its way towards the valley, down to the haunts of men. Far and wide echo the thumps of the old flax mill. The sound invades these trim dwellings so lovingly cared for by the mountain farming folk. Every object, every corner speaks of ancient tradition. An upland valley where corn is grown, the Tavech. Onwards rush the waters of the Rhine. Ever larger grows the number of mountain torrents which come to swell the river and add to its power and turbulence. High above the river stands the massive monastery of Disentis. Vast quantities of rubble brought down by the current must be cleared away to keep the riverbed free. Made strong and hard by their struggle against nature, free mountain people swore allegiance to the Grey Federation in Truns more than 500 years ago. Their villages and towns do not lie on the Rhine itself, which rushes by on the shady side of the valley, but occupy the sunny terraces on its left bank. Above Ilanz, the first small town on the Rhine, fantastic rock shapes mark the site of a great prehistoric landslip. On the far side nestles Flims, the modern holiday paradise. The clouds gather in threatening masses. The wind raises its warning voice. Soon the waters of the Rhine will be roused to savage tumult. Tiny rivulets run into one another, swell, and become foaming torrents. The waters break their banks, grow into destructive floods, and plunge with unimaginable fury down to the valley, sweeping everything before them that stands in their way. Seething and roaring, the unfettered river rages in primeval violence. Rotterdam, a mighty beating heart sustained by the waters of the Rhine. These waters have come a long and adventurous way before losing their identity in the sea. 7,700 feet up in the Swiss Alps, where innumerable streamlets flow together to form a tiny lake, Lake Thoma, the Rhine is cradled. Leaping with untamable life, the newborn river thrusts its way towards the valley, down to the haunts of men. Far and wide echo the thumps of the old flax mill. The sound invades these trim dwellings so lovingly cared for by the mountain farming folk. Every object, every corner speaks of ancient tradition. An upland valley where corn is grown, the Tavech. Onwards rush the waters of the Rhine. Ever larger grows the number of mountain torrents which come to swell the river and add to its power and turbulence. High above the river stands the massive monastery of Disentis. Always find pleasant old inns and pleasant people in them. Deep in the heart of the Tamina Gorge, a healing spring rises bubbling to the surface. To this mineral spring, the town of Ragaz owes its importance as a spa. Forming the frontier between the Principality of Liechtenstein, Austria and Switzerland, the Rhine continues its majestic course towards the Lake of Constance. Werdenberg, a survival from the Middle Ages, the smallest town in Switzerland. This house is mine and yet not mine, nor his before me in this line. Who comes next must also roam. Tell me, dear friend, whose is this home? And now the Rhine enters the placid Lake of Constance, there to rest a while and deposit its burden of silt. It has, in truth, earned its rest. Its course is no longer a battle against rocks and gorges. Now it can meander along from idyll to idyll. Once again the banks close in, once again begins its fretful surge, past trim little towns and picturesque villages such as this, Stein am Rhein. The ancient fortress of the Munot, sign manual of the go-ahead town of Schaffhausen. Here the river sets out upon its last great adventure. Over the rocks of the Rhine Falls it thunders, an awe-inspiring yet beautiful spectacle. Broad and massive it goes on its way. Vineyards clothe its banks. Little towns have built their bridges over its waters. At Koblenz, the waters of the Ahr flow into the Rhine and lose their identity. As the river passes the derricks of the salt works and the walls of Rheinfelden, towers and bridges bid it farewell. Soon it will leave the country through the old and venerable town of Bâle. Once more, use will be made of its giant strength. It will form a communicating link between Switzerland and the sea. Placidly it flows on its age-old course. Placidly it accepts its lot as a river of destiny. Henceforth it has no other aim but to follow its predestinate path to the end. But what a life of adventure, ever starting anew. From the summit cairns of rugged peaks, past the mountain peasants with their shy beasts, their strenuous labors, and their primitive huts that seem to huddle close to the earth, past the endless beating of their old mills, like clocks measuring out the ever-recurring cycle. In its fresh youth, always leaping and bubbling like a youth setting out to conquer the world, wrestling with rocks and cliffs where nature reigns in all her elemental violence, through narrow gorges, and already growing more mature, across fertile plains, even taking its ease for a while in quiet lakes. The ever-recurring cycle from sea to land, from land to sea, the father of all waters.